Chapter 6, Episode 9. Caprice and Sally slipped into the hut, unnoticed and masked. The husband and wife didn't see or hear them. They were sound asleep from the chloroform soaked into the clean rags that were held over their faces. Not the nicest stuff to inhale, but better than having to die. Sally did the same thing to the driver. He was already sleeping up against a tree and might wonder why he had slept so long when he finally awoke. The two private security force bodyguards were included on the assignment, collateral damage. Sally and Billy waited a while for them to separate. When one announced he was going for a piss and the other lit up a cigarette, Sally and Caprice moved instinctively. Caprice snuck up behind the guard smoking a cigarette, sliced his neck and took his gun. Sally snuck up behind the guard taking a piss, sliced his neck, and took his gun. The two men sitting at their old wooden table still hadn't noticed any change. There were enough noises in the jungle to listen to. Eventually, Ryan wondered why he hadn't seen either of his bodyguards. He wasn't paying them to stay out of sight. He stood up and looked around. He saw his driver sleeping against a tree. "Something wrong, Mr. Servio?" "I don't know." He reached for his gun and took a few steps from the table. "Rolf? Bruce?" No answer. What the fuck was his driver's name? Then he felt the barrel of a gun pressed really hard into the back of his neck. "Shoot your friend." "What?" "Shoot your friend." He didn't have any friends, but he saw Boris Bernsky reach for his gun to point his direction. So he shot him. "Drop it." He dropped his gun. Sally had a gun to the back of Boris Bernsky's head and repeated the order Caprice had given. He had a pretty big hole in his belly and was a little slow to lift the gun. Enough time for Caprice to move behind a tree. He shot twice. The first shot ripped through Ryan's leg. The second one ripped through his liver. Sally and Caprice collected everyone's smart devices and the keys from the Jeep. Boris and Ryan both had a while to live, but even if they could call for a helicopter, there was nowhere to land it. The road back to Caracas was too far, even if the road was really a road and not a trail pretending it would like to be a road. Fuck it. Ryan crawled in the short distance to his gun and picked it up. Boris knew by the fuck it that Ryan was going to shoot him. So he shot Ryan. Missed 3 times before Ryan shot him 4 times. Asshole. Ryan managed over the next hour to crawl to the Jeep. After another quarter of an hour, he managed to pull the door open and crawl into the driver's seat. He wasn't surprised to find no keys in the ignition. He didn't care. He knew it was over. He turned the radio on and listened to a jazz station before slipping off into unconsciousness, from whence he would not return.